Hello, my name is Diana Castro and you're watching Leaders with a Mission, and today I have a huge surprise for you. It's a very special person that I would like for you to meet, and let me tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Patricia Ferreira and she is a women's success coach. She helps women experience higher level of satisfaction from their professional lives to their personal lives. She's a force of enlightenment to women that have lost their way in the journey of success. And with you, Patricia Ferreira.
Hello, how are you? That was amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy you liked it.
I loved it. I loved it.
I got inspired and I just put it there. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. This is beautiful. I love it here. The energy is amazing.
I know, and it feels like a little place in New York, but we're in Miami, Florida, so.
I do feel like I'm back home. It's like a little loft in New York, so it feels really comfortable. Thank you.
I love this space. So I'm really happy you're here, and I want you to tell me a little bit about what you do, because you are really a force of enlightenment to those women who have lost their ways. So I just want you to tell us a little bit more.
Oh, thank you. So what I do is I help women break free from their default patterns. I help them tap into their power, their passion, what they're really looking to create in this world, so that they can build a life with meaning and fulfillment and the validation that we really look for, and just do all of that with grace and ease.
And one of the things that a lot of people don't know about you is how you actually got to do this, which is a beautiful, very powerful story. So like in the shortest way possible, can you just walk us through that story that I got to experience when we got to work together doing your videos? But I feel it's so full of heart, because we defined success. So we have learned that success is one thing and one thing only. And what we discovered through our journey is totally different. So how was that story for you?
So I am very much my own first client, right? I was a woman that is very self-driven, very action-taking. And that was very important for me in terms of moving forward and upwards in my success. And for me, very early on, it was very much about getting to that next level, achievement, wealth creation, accolades, all the things that we understand are going to make us happy, right? And I went for all of those things and I got them, and I lost myself in the process. I was very much feeling empty. Looking like a success, like I always say, looking like a success and feeling like a failure, right? And in that process, I just kept on moving along. Like, let's do this. This is what life is about, sacrifice and settling. And I really didn't pay attention to the fact that I wasn't happy, and just kept moving along, feeling stuck, and just living my life by default.
Numbing yourself.
Numbing myself and just saying, listen, for me to have all of this, there's got to be some sacrifice, right? And I kept convincing myself of that. And I had a life-changing experience. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and it was my job to take care of her. And in that process, I started to ask myself the questions. And it wasn't until she passed, it wasn't until I had lost my mom in my arms, that I really started to say, there's got to be more. This cannot be how we live, right? And it took the breakdown to get to the breakthrough, right? And it was a hard time for me, depression, panic attacks, my confidence was shot, anxiety, stress, all of it, right? And it was what saved my life. So even in one of my talks, I talk about how my mother's death saved my life. And it's because being in that space, I was able to really look at myself and say, I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to put the pieces back together again. So that's where it all started.
And then walking away from like leading a 500, like a Fortune 500 company, like you were one of the top executives leading Latin America, and walking away from that. How did you went through that process?
It was a very scary process, and it's a process where you're questioning everything and you're in fear 24/7, right? It's like your way of being is questioning and fear and asking yourself if you're going in the right direction. And there's this burning desire within you, a little light that says, yes, there's something at the end of the tunnel. Yes, this is the direction to go in. And when you listen and follow it, magic happens, right? So it's not easy. It's not easy.
But it takes true leadership, not only in self-mastery, but also leadership to do what's necessary to get to the place where you want to be. So what is your personal definition of leadership, especially in what you do?
So for me, it's very important to add a word to the leadership term at this stage in my life, because I've always been a leader. And for me, what took and made a difference was feminine leadership.
Yes.
It was about tapping into more of my feminine skills, because I had the masculine skills, being driven, being disciplined, getting things done. Like I had that. That was very much my makeup. And I was able to incorporate compassion, self-care, nurturing, putting myself first, right? Having that positive self-talk and not that negative chatter that we just viciously beat ourselves up with. So I could honestly say that for me, the best type of leadership that got me out of my stuckness was the feminine pieces of it.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Because there's no, and I want to make a distinction because a lot of people get this messed up. Some people, they have this belief that when we talk about it, we're like trying to go against masculinity, or we're trying to make it something wrong. And there's nothing wrong about masculine energy or even feminine energy. It's just how do we show up in our full essence,
Yes.
in our full self essence,
Yeah.
to be the best version of who we have to be. And that's the beautiful part, that it's not that you're shutting people down.
No.
To the contrary, it's how do we tune up our inner being to really allow ourselves to give ourselves permission to be, which is so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, for me in the beginning, it was, I didn't even know that's what I was tapping into, right? Now I could call it feminine energy. I just knew that there was a piece of me that needed something more than get up and do it and shake it off. It was more being called to like sit with it and understand it and tap into it, right? So, and that's where my brand came from. Like my brand is Boss Lady, right? Divine, start as a boss lady and turn into a divine boss lady, because I truly believe that it's the balance of the two things that make us a best version of ourselves. Unstoppable. So when you are just tapping into the masculine skills, you're more of that boss lady archetype that we're familiar with, right? Where you're controlling and you're very much action driven and kind of hardcore. There's judgment there sometimes. And it's just, it doesn't give a lot of room for you to be self-expressed, for you to be authentic, for you to take imperfect action, right? And then when you mix the two, the masculine skills and the feminine skills, you're just unstoppable. Yeah. That balance, that's where the magic happened for me.
That's beautiful, because the women that you often serve are women who have lost themselves because they have muted that femininity, because it's required of them to be bosses.
Yes.
And it is okay to be at that space. It is okay to be this, badass. But it's also okay to lead with compassion and love and self-care and nurtured and fun and, just the sprinkle on top of, everything else. So it's so beautiful that you allow women to really tap into their inner self and inner beauty and inner child to be brilliant. So let me ask you this. What leaders or what books inspire you to become a better leader?
Wow. So for me, it was very much a mindfulness and spiritual path, right? Because in the past, in my career, I did a lot of personal development. I did a lot of personal development because in the companies that I worked for, they invested in me. And it was when I had my breakdown that I realized that I had done a lot of leadership development. And what I needed was the actual personal development. So what awakened me and caught my eye was very mindful and spiritual work. So one of the books that woke me up was Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love.
Oh my God, everybody's been mentioning that
Really?
book.
Have you read that book?
Not yet.
It's
but
amazing.
it's in my I mean,
Yeah.
it's in my list, my Amazon
Yes. Well,
list.
I will send you the link because I have the audio. I have the Audible book.
Oh,
So I'll send it to you. And it's like my first go-to. It was really what woke me up. She talks about all the principles of A Course in Miracles, which is what teaches
love
you
that.
that we're not here by ourselves, that it doesn't all depend on what we have the capacity to do. The universe really has our back, right? So that was huge. And then from her, I navigated to Gabby Bernstein. Like, she is one of my spiritual mentors, right? And she talks
She's so
about
beautiful.
the universe has your back, and she talks about A Course in Miracles as well. So that's where I kind of started, and then I moved into a lot of the other books that manage the leadership from the place of embodiment, from the place of modeling it for others. So I've got, like, I love books, and there's so many I can go on, but those are two. If you want to get started, those are two to go with.
I always ask because I know that leadership and mindfulness and just soulfulness leave a trait behind. Like, this is not something that just happens. You feed yourself with beautiful information that just makes you more aware of all the blessings you have around you, and it's just beautiful. So I always ask because it's good to know what are leaders doing, so you can kind of like copy paste.
And it's a funny thing with that, because you're the one thing I can say is that you're always kind of in the vicinity of what your soul and your heart is calling for. And there's so many breadcrumbs.
Yes.
There are so many little things that if you pay attention and you're present, you're being called to, and you could kind of give yourself some time to step into that. So definitely go check them out. You'll love them.
I will. That's in my list of, I have purchased 4 books. I'm finishing the second one. I still have like 2 more that I'm like, I have to get there. Oh my
Isn't
God.
that always the case?
But anyways, and I only do audiobooks because that's the only way for me to read, if not. So
I'm going to send you the link. For me, it's easier. Driving in between meetings and stuff, you get there.
that's how you feed
enlightened.
your soul in the meantime.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what kind of legacy do you want to live in the world? How do you want to be remembered?
Wow. Yeah, that's a deep question. So, I want to be remembered as someone that helped a woman step into her power, even if it's one. I obviously have the desire and the dreams to make a huge impact, but I feel that women are the core of our society. They impact our children, they impact our men, they impact a lot of the pieces and aspects of our culture. So for me, it's, something like I had a conversation with Patty, and it made me step into my power.
You're already doing that. So that's an easy one to accomplish.
In a massive way.
That's awesome. So tell us, for those people who might want to contact you or learn more about what you do, because you don't only coach, but you also do retreats and you also do speaking engagements, and you just, sprinkle the world with awesomeness. Where can they find you?
So you can find me at my website, is the easiest place, which is divinebosslady.com. And I do retreats, which is where my heart lies. They're 3-day immersions. We go to beautiful places on the planet to really tap in deeply. My next retreat is in Costa Rica. So we're going to have amazing fun there. And I do workshops on a monthly basis so that women can come and get to know and trust me and get a feel for what I'm about, and if we're a fit, to work with each other. So I'd invite you and everyone to reach out to me via my website and all the different things. I also offer like free conversations to just kind of get unstuck if you feel you could just tap into a call and I could serve you powerfully.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It was so much fun.
Yes.
We could spend like hours talking, but I guess we can't do that.
We do have a timer. We're being watched.
So for those of you who are looking to position your brand as leaders in the industry, I'm going to invite you to visit us at forproductions.com, where if you subscribe, you'll receive weekly updates and tips on how to position your brand as a leader in the industry with the use of video. Until next time.